When you see a bank's annual earnings report, your eyes probably glaze over. All that jargon and all those numbers. But what if we looked at it like a report card? That's what we're going to do today. We're going to grade M&T Bank's 2025 performance and see if they really made the honor roll. Let's dive in. I mean, seriously, these things can feel impossible to read, right? But just think of it as the ultimate report card for a huge company. It tells us way more than just if they made money. It shows us how they did it and what they really care about. And today, we're going to read it together. So, first things first. Before we can start grading their performance, we have to understand what they're actually aiming for. What subject are they trying to ace? Who does M&T Bank even say they are? This is the foundation for everything else we're about to look at. Okay, so right off the bat, their mission is pretty simple and really powerful. Make a difference and be a bank for communities. For a regional bank like M&T, this isn't just some fluffy corporate speak. It's a very specific choice they're making to be different from those giant impersonal national banks. This community focus, that's their North Star. And that mission gets broken down into these 4 key promises. They're trying to deliver for 4 different groups: their customers, the communities they operate in, their own employees, who they call colleagues, and of course, their shareholders. It's a huge balancing act, and the rest of this report is going to show us just how well they managed to pull it off. All right, mission statement? Check. Now for the fun part. Let's get into the numbers. We know what they promised, so let's see their actual performance. Did their actions line up with their words? This is where we get out the red pen and really start grading that report card. But wait, before we get to the big numbers, a super quick but really important explainer. You're going to see GAAP and non-GAAP results. Think of it like this. GAAP is the final official grade that includes everything, even, say, a one-time extra credit project. Non-GAAP, which they call operating results, is more like your core GPA from all your day-to-day homework and tests. It gives you a clearer picture of the real underlying health of the business. First up, the headline number, total revenue. M&T brought in almost $9.7 billion in 2025. That's up from about $9.3 billion the year before, which is a really solid sign of healthy growth. It tells us their main business of lending and providing services is definitely expanding. But revenue is only part of the story. The real juicy detail is the profit, or what they call net income. So after all the bills were paid, M&T's profit grew from around $2.6 billion to over $2.8 billion. That jump is huge. It shows they're not just making more money, they're getting better at turning it into actual profit. Now, for anyone who invests, this is probably the number that matters most: earnings per share. Just think of it as the slice of the profit pie that belongs to each single share of the company. A 16% jump in just 1 year? That's a big deal. It's a direct signal that every piece of the company became a lot more profitable. So the internal numbers are telling a story of some serious growth. But what did the rest of the world think? A good report card isn't just about what you think of yourself, it's also about what your teachers and peers are saying. Let's see what the industry experts have to say. And they got shout-outs from some of the biggest names in the business, like Coalition Greenwich and American Banker. We're not talking about participation trophies here. These organizations are serious industry watchdogs, so when they give you an award, it carries a lot of weight. And just look at the awards themselves. They aren't just about the money. They got top marks for leadership, best CEO, and best company board. They were recognized for how they treat their customers, winning Best Bank for Customer Service and Trust. And they were honored for their people, with a bunch of awards for the powerful women leading their teams. This shows their success is being seen as well-rounded, not just a financial thing. Okay, let's tie this all together. We've seen really strong financial growth, and we've seen some pretty impressive recognition from the outside. So what? How does this all connect back to that mission we started with? And this brings us right back to the beginning. The big takeaway from this entire report card is that M&T sees profit and purpose as 2 sides of the very same coin. Those strong financials, that nearly $10 billion in revenue and that 16% earnings growth, they aren't just for shareholders. That's the engine that powers their whole mission to be a bank for communities. So M&T's 2025 report card is in, and it is full of straight A's. But a good grade is really just a snapshot in time, isn't it? The real test isn't about how they did last year, but what they promised to do next year. With all this profit and a super clear purpose, the big question is, how will they invest that success back into the communities they promised to serve? That's the chapter that's still waiting to be written.